So here we have a view of Oapo Hakahau harbour, or the view from the harbour as well as over the harbour. What an amazing view here in Hakahau Bay on Oapo in French Polynesia in the Marquesas. One of those dramatic volcanic cones, old volcanic cones sticking up like a spire. Just amazing. And over by the harbour entrance, the locals are forever fishing. There's some quite big fish even under the boat here, and I'm sure they're catching plenty. They always seem to be on the end of the jetty there, the harbour wall. We're having a bit of a nightmare at the moment. I am going around and round in the little tiny harbour here under motor because my anchor chain has managed to pick up some other anchor on it, which has twiddled it up, and therefore I started dragging, and I've tried to put up my anchor, but I've found this other anchor twiddled up with a chain, and there's a limit as to how far I can get my anchor up. So I'm literally motoring around this tiny little harbour, trying to avoid everyone and everything, and not go into the beach and not go onto the rocks on the far side. And I'm just having to keep at the motor and keep going and just keep out of the way of everyone until daylight, when hopefully I can get someone to come over and sort out my problem. But at the moment there's no way I can anchor, and there's no way I can pull up my anchor. So we've got a bit of a problem at the moment. So here we have first light. I've been motoring by then for a couple of hours, but I still had to wait quite a time until my friends were able to come and help me from their boats, fellow cruisers. Every now and then a big gust comes and we get taken. We're just having to keep going till I can get this anchor off my chain, and I can raise my anchor completely and get going and do something sensible. On over Hakahau, and I'm still circling. Well, one benefit was seeing this beautiful dawn light on the side of the bay here, not normally up this early. Well, we're back safe and sound. I've had I think it must be a 5-hour sleep, because I was up before 4 o'clock this morning because we were dragging, and I had to wait until well after dawn to get help from the cruisers nearby. And in the meantime, there I was just circling round and around and around, trying to avoid the other boats nearby, and also the beach and the rocks and the jetty and the pier. So all with big gusts of wind blowing the bow off the whole time. So that was pretty tiring, and just had to wait and keep myself safe. At the same time, I had, so far as I was aware, my stern anchor out as well as my bow anchor. So I was basically circling around my anchor with, as I thought, my stern anchor still intact. It turned out later that the stern anchor, in fact, was what had got twiddled in my chain of my main bow anchor. So when the guys from Unbelievable, Morgan from Unbelievable, and Paul from Nereida, when they were up and about in the morning, we actually woke up Paul. I think Morgan was already awake because my boat had got a bit close to his. So yeah, it was all a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. Finally, dawn started breaking, and I'm still going around, trying to, and also not to use too much fuel, just go slowly, try to drift, try to get into the shelter of the pier if I could, because the seas were not big, but the swell and the surge were pretty impressive, so I had to stay safe with the gusty wind. Anyway, the guys were able to get my my anchor up. Oh, at one point it looked as though the windlass had stopped working. Well, it had actually. They were manhandling the anchor, the main anchor, back up again, having discovered that it was my stern anchor that had got twiddled around, and totally, by going around in circles, of course, my small stern anchor had got totally messed up with the main arm. So here we are. I had 5 hours sleep. I think it was 5 hours, and I'm just having a nice cup of coffee and made myself feeling a little bit more refreshed and civilized and panic over. It was not fun. At least my main anchor and the windlass is now usable. The main anchor is down again, and it seems to be holding fine. And the plan is to go on tomorrow to Motus, which is a 4-day hopefully, but maybe 5-day passage. And I've got to raise my dinghy and get going. So that's the big news of today, Monday. I think it's the 10th of July. It's still gusty, the wind is still strong, and there's no way that I'm moving anywhere at the moment. Just got to recover and make sure that the boat's all set. So here we have Nereida, which has Paul and Liz on it, and here we have Unbelievable, which has Morgan and Audrey and their daughter Soleil. And then we all went for a meal that night to say goodbye to each other.